So the assignment title I picked was the first one, about evaluating the fitness for purpose of an assessment instrument. Now, I didn't just pick the first one on the list because it was the first one. I did look at the others briefly. Evaluating what I do and identifying areas for future development is a very big part of my job. So I thought this would be a very useful exercise for me to do, particularly with this assignment, this assessment instrument. So some themes that I'm looking to go into with this assignment. Here they are, coming up here. Quite a range of different themes. You may notice I haven't put e-assessment up there. I think because everything I do is e in a way, I guess I have trouble seeing e-assessment as a theme, especially with distance learners that are working online. Every assessment they do is going to be some form of e-assessment. So, but as you can see, there's quite a wide range of themes that I'm looking to cover in this assignment. So thinking about key sections, obviously the first key section, if I'm going to be evaluating the fitness for purpose of this assessment, this assessment instrument, is what is the purpose of it? And I thought about this, and I realised that there were kind of 2 or 3 major purposes. Obviously, we want to assess their negotiation skills. That's what we're doing by running this role play exercise. And there's some details down there in the box. And we're thinking, well, why are we assessing their negotiation skills? Whose benefit is this for? And we're thinking it's for the students' benefit, so that they have an idea of how good their negotiation skills are. That will impact on any future continuing professional development they do as part of their roles as construction managers. And it also impacts on how they address their ongoing reflective work, which is also part of the programme. It's also got a role for the tutor. Obviously, the tutor wants to assess whether the students are sufficiently capable of negotiating. That might have a diagnostic role for future times that the modules run, or the further development of the assessment, to see whether the activity itself is preparing students sufficiently for the negotiation process. And also, of course, there's the employers. Now, most of our students are kind of mid-career professionals. They're already in work, and they're taking this programme to enhance their career. Now, at the moment, we don't have too close a relationship with employers. I think that probably needs to change. And when students get their transcript, basically it's just a transcript with unit titles and marks. So perhaps we need to move towards a system where some summative statements are being made about their skills and their competencies. Now, obviously, there's a dual purpose to this assignment. Not only are we assessing negotiation skills, it's also the actual learning activity itself. Now, we did some work with the Cordelia Bryan stuff about preparing students for group work, and I think it's very important to prepare students for an assessment that they're going to do that involves group work and collaboration. Unfortunately, when you have distance learning students all scattered all over the world, you really do have to assess something for them to actually engage with it, or at least to get 100% participation. So I think that's at the core of the kind of dual purpose of this assessment, as both a learning activity and a summative assessed activity. And also, of course, as well as simply developing negotiation skills, this activity, this assessed activity, has a crucial role to play in the actual active engagement of the students on the module. We're asking them to communicate, we're asking them to collaborate, we're asking them to build relationships with each other. And I think, that's a very important purpose for this assessment activity as well. So obviously I need to talk about the tensions and trade-offs, and I think we've identified already that the main tension here is between the dual purpose of this assessment as both a learning activity and a summative assessed activity. They might have trade-offs, and I think with those 2 roles, and I think it would be really good to explore that. So once we've kind of dealt with the actual purpose of this assessment, obviously we then need to see kind of how fit the assessment exercise is for that purpose or those purposes. And I'm thinking here about looking at different concepts and technical issues around assessment, around the design of the assessment. And obviously one of the key issues here that I think we've dealt with quite a lot in the unit is the sampling or the assessment of process. And I mean, at the moment we're doing that through forums, through a group wiki for each group, and through a record of their live chat, their meetings that they're holding online. I think possibly on evaluating this, it might be interesting to look at what placing a bigger emphasis on individual reflections and self and peer assessment would bring to the assessment process. And I think I'll probably draw on some literature for that. Thinking about student engagement, this is probably an issue that's very relevant to distance learning students, online distance learning students, more than a face-to-face undergraduate course. And these are very crucial issues to address in the design of an assessment for online distance learners. And stakeholder involvement is very much linked to that. I think, you know, when you're getting kind of constant feedback from previous cohort that you can show that you're feeding into the design of this, the future design of this assessment task, and that you're involving the tutors in the design. I mean, those are all crucial things for this assessment to actually work. And I think all these authors have kind of talked about involvement in the design. Okay, familiarity with tools. This is a technical issue that really has to be resolved before you can carry out an assessment like this task online, because if the students aren't able to access and use the tools effectively, then they won't perform very well on the assessment. It really does come back to preparation for group work again. So we're thinking about the group work stuff that Cordelia Bryan was writing about. There's also Salmon and Jacques wrote a book about online group work, which is I'll probably draw on that as well. And then of course there's the issue that this also has a purpose as a formative assessment, and thinking about how the formative feedback process is built into the design. And so I'll be evaluating, or trying to evaluate, how each of these key issues and concepts are kind of addressed in the design of the assessment, and how they could be enhanced. So, is this outline any good? I thought I'd base this on the objectives for the unit. So I was asking myself, does it show how I'll describe and identify a range of purposes of assessment? I think it does. How I'll incorporate the tensions and trade-offs of the above. Thought very much about the tensions, not so much about the trade-offs, but I thought, smiley face, hey-ho. Which concepts and technical issues of assessment I'll be evaluating? Yep, I've thought about that. Is there plenty of opportunity in this assignment to evaluate current practices? Yes, indeed there is. Have I shown how I'll develop an ability to select appropriate assessment techniques? Maybe I have to think about that objective a bit more. Is there going to be opportunities to evaluate research? Yes, thought about that. And finally, is there an opportunity to evaluate forms of reporting assessment outcomes? I think that's probably something I need to think about a bit more and add to my plan. So there we go. That's my assignment outline. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, please do post them up on my blog, and I'll try and put a link to this video on my blog. So it's been lovely working with you all, and presumably I'm having a lovely time skiing right now, so have a lovely session and speak to you all soon.